Hey everybody, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra here at Attitude First with Master Lawrence Robinson, my Shifu, and Master Ken, the Master of Ameridote. Today, we're going to talk just a little bit about using a flashlight as a Kubotan.
Magtech has maintained their high quality during the ammo panic and ramped production to the max. Their ammo is the only ammo I run on the range because of its performance and reliability. I recommend Magtech wholeheartedly.
Now, you guys know I carry a flashlight every day, and usually we just carry this to find stuff in the dark, right? This is a find stuff in the dark thing, but I know that with you, Master Robinson, we have spent some time working a Kubotan as a defensive tool. Why do you like that as a defensive tool?
For a lot of reasons. One, it's very simple. It's small and easily concealed.
Yep.
And I don't have to worry about potentially hitting myself with it. It's much easier for me to maneuver and do things with, but it magnifies the intensity with which I can do things.
So it's a force multiplier.
Right.
The other thing I love about it is I could take it on an airplane.
Yes.
I could take it with me wherever. If I go to court and they go, hey John, you can't bring your firearm in here because it's court. Okay, I can leave that wherever. They'll almost always let me bring a flashlight with me, and I have a force multiplier. We talk about what I've learned here is that there's really, when you use a flashlight though, you have 3 layers of work and use for this. Now, I haven't introduced these concepts yet to Master Ken, which is why we've asked him to be here, because he's gonna give us his analysis of them. But I wanna show you those 3 kind of distances when we talk about this and how we use them with a flashlight. So the neat part here of this is, I want Master Robinson to talk real quick about our 4 dimensions, because I don't think I've introduced this on the channel. So would you introduce us to the 4 contact phases?
Sure. So we call them the dimensional stages of actions. And within this, there's the out of contact stage, in which, again, I still should be making assessments and things, and I can still do stuff to prevent actions from happening. And then there's the contact stage, where now I have to read more about what the opponent is doing and understand where he's at, and I need to start recognizing how I should be positioning myself for defensive actions.
I can make contact with my opponent and start to physically affect.
Sure. And then at the penetration stage is where they're impacting and stuff, and then the manipulation stage where they're starting to control. Now, again, I can control you with penetration by moving and stuff like that, but it's a stage of action that we look at how each maneuver works.
This is really about distance in a big sense.
Yeah. Distance is a major factor.
Number 1 with the light. Interesting stuff. I haven't prepped Master Robinson for this one. So if you take a step back, and I kind of feel like now at this phase, well, he's very fast, so he's still in contact to me, but this is where most people kind of public space would feel like out of contact, right? Sure. But when I'm using a flashlight, especially a bright one, I'm not showing for mod light or anything like that, but this is a mod light PLHV2, is that I've done this before, is again, you want somebody to give you some space. One of the best ways you do that is you just hit them. And you see, that's like, oh man, have you got that nice bright halo right now going on? Okay, so that's a very bright, very helpful tool, because again, it can push someone off you, give you a few seconds, especially if it's darker outside. And we're in a well-lit indoor environment, and it still worked very well. Now, the second one that I like to talk about here is if we're fighting, we're about to fight. Now, I have this tool. Now again, a fist that I put a fairly large light in is a more formidable tool. And I have the ability to use a hammer fist here. Now here's an interesting thing. I think a lot of people don't think about this from the legal perspective, but if I hammer fist him in the head here with this tool, that could be considered deadly force. So I want to be cautious of that from a legal perspective. So think about the legal stuff. But I'm going to tell you, as a fighter, if a guy's squared up on me, I like using this hammer fist and hammering him right in the hand. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Arm, anything.
So anything. So instead of like, oh, okay, I'm going to grab this or something like that, just banging on him real hard with this. And if I'm a counterpuncher, there's different styles, whatever. Wait for that counterpunch, that punch to show up, bang, and I hit that sucker real hard. That'll dissuade a lot of guys, because that kind of pain really goes.
Sure. And again, oftentimes people think of targets as being, all of the major targets, the eyes, the nose, the throat, all that. And people don't realize that pain is pain. And so when you smack him in the hand, he's distracted for a millisecond for you to do something else. He's out of time.
Quick personal story on this. One of my very first lessons at Attitude First, I was sparring with one of your black belts, Charlie Hunzinger.
Sure.
And I'm standing here like this, and Charlie just grabbed my fingers and picked me up, and then just beat the tar out of me. And it's a super easy way. So now that's penetration, that's that idea of being able to contact. So I can hit, again, here, and if I hit somebody with this, that's probably going to put him down. You better be cautious of deadly force. Now, when we go to the manipulation stage, I'm going to give that to Master Robinson. So now, how am I going to use this guy as a manipulation?
Again, you could do it with a certain level of impacting and striking, but more than not is you're just going in and just pressing it on there because, right, I mean, and you're going into kind of soft tissue type areas, but you just press it, and they're gonna respond to that. And while they're responding to that, then you have the opportunity to go to something else.
That sucks.
Right.
It's really an interesting thing because if I'm here and we're grappling, right, and I push him this way, well, then that moves his head. If we're grappling here and I push him with that Kubotan, it's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
So,
like you said, it's multiplied. The
Now-
impact is.
last question I have for you, Master Robinson, is how many hours of training you think it needs for the average person to become proficient with using this tool as a Kubotan?
A couple hours, you know. Again, it comes to what are they going to be confident doing naturally, right? What are they confident doing, and what are they going to be comfortable committing to? Once they're recognized that they can do certain things and they're confident and committed to their actions, this is going to increase that effect tenfold.
Sure seems that
Sure.
it's going to play off of your actual fighting ability, off of your empty-handed skills, and just multiply.
Yeah.
All right, so Master Ken, what do you have to add here?
Aside from all this being useless, that was very, very good. One of my biggest problems is that you need to think about when and why you would use the weapon that you're using. If I'm going to hit somebody with a boat, I better be out on the ocean. Okay? If I'm going to hit somebody with a spatula, I better be in the kitchen. If I'm going to hit somebody with a flashlight, I better be in the dark. So, as you can see, we're going to be doing some kind of training in the dark. With a flashlight, you need to actually train in the dark. That's the first thing about training with a flashlight. You don't want to train out in the daylight because why would you need a flashlight in that situation, okay? So my first problem is this flashing it at people. You can absolutely do this, okay, but you can only do it once or twice, right? See? And now he's going to close his eyes whenever I move it towards him, and he's learned from that. What I prefer instead is the cat with a laser pointer approach, okay? So he comes up to me in an aggressive way, and instead I point it over here. Okay? See, look at that. See? Now he's noticing that. He goes over, maybe even tries to touch it. See? See that? See? Okay? Now I've effectively distracted him in that way. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and I'm going to try to leave this on and have a very high-powered flashlight so that it's hot to the touch, okay? Almost like a cigarette lighter, okay? I can use that to burn him, right? I can come up and just, okay? That can actually be causing burns, and also later on when police are trying to identify him, they can look for the flashlight burns. I can even write my name, perhaps, on his skin in that way. I can also use a diversionary tactic called the floating head. Okay, the floating head is when I create a target and do a sort of ethereal, kind of scary sort of floating head approach like this. Imagine that. Imagine that just coming right at you. Terrifying, right? What's that? Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And then if I am going to go back to shining the light at him, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the light and I'm going to filter it, okay? I'm going to fill the light with toxic chemicals, okay? How do I do that? Inserting it, okay? Inserting it in the rear here, okay? And then once I do that, it comes out of my mouth at him.
All right, so once again today we have a couple of different techniques. One principle-based that we work on in UMass, and one that is Master Ken-based. You decide which is best.